Second question, Xenomorphs versus Terminators, who wins? It was kind of already answered in Alien vs. Predator versus Terminator. So, yeah, kind of already answered that question. Third question, a Terminator was sent back to destroy Cartoon Network shows one by one. How far do you think it would get? 90s cartoons to now. I think the Powerpuff Girl, it would start going good until it ran into the Powerpuff Girls. And then it would be trashed. Anyway. So thank you for those questions, Nicholas. Sorry, I had to get something to drink. So moving on now to Treva Smolka, who asks, what is your opinion on Terminator Genesis as a whole? You said you really liked it. I personally didn't. It was going good for a while. It was going pretty good. But then that whole let's go to the year 2017. Then it just got bad, and the actor playing Kyle Reese was bad. See, the more I think about Terminator Genesis, the more of a mess I see it to be. I mean, again, Treva, if you like it, that's totally fine. No ill will against you. Me personally, yeah, no. No. Okay. What is your opinion of the Terminator timeline being screwed up ever since Terminator 3, and do you think the Terminator timeline could be fixed, or better yet, the original idea? How would you have the Time War in the Terminator universe like the Doctor... Yeah, the timeline is completely screwed up at this point. I don't know how you could fix it. Because now you've got multiple timelines contradicting themselves. Blah. I honestly don't know what you could do. Really. Final question. Out of all the Terminator movies and video games that came out of this franchise, which one is your favorite of all time? Kind of already answered this. I think if you want to go by video games, the Terminator Salvation arcade game is a lot of fun. You see that a lot in almost every, at least I have, in every arcade and movie theater I go into, it's there. Movie, it would have to be Judgment Day. I know it's everyone's answer, but it's just that damn good. Okay. The Spawn 117. Thank you for those questions, Trevor. Moving on now, to the Spawn 117, who asks, what is your favorite Terminator story from the Terminator comics? Can't really think of one, honestly, even from crossover standpoint. Second question, what do you think of a Hellsing Terminator crossover? I think it would be cool. Maybe have it that, a Terminator is sent back in time to kill Integra Hellsing. But yeah, the thing is, even with a T-1000, Alucard is still stronger than anything, unless it has holy technology, which I doubt Skynet would use. Yeah. Third question, what would be Cora and the gang's reaction if suddenly Skynet invaded Republic City? They'd be like, I think the general reaction is, oh, goddamn robots. Well, Varric would be looking at this as a dream come true for him. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Moving on now to John Kelly, who asks, Crystal Gems versus T-1000. How fast does the shit hit the fan? Pretty fast. Pretty fast. Second question, if you could pick one horror icon to fight Terminators, which one would you choose? Probably Jason. Third question, favorite cartoon does Terminator-themed episode. Which one is it? I think it would be either Gravity Falls or Amazing World of Gumball for shits and giggles, which they kind of did already in one episode. So thank you for those questions, John Kelly. Moving on now to Nolan Uno, who asks, I do apologize if I mispronounced your last name, Nolan. But Nolan asks, what if Jar Jar becomes the new bad guy Terminator for the next movie? What would happen? Everyone would be really pissed off about these Terminator films. Second question, top 5 Terminator crossovers you want to see. Okay, top 5 Terminator crossovers I would like to see. Which Terminator crossovers would I like to see the most? I think, honestly, if I was to go through them all, it would have to be Terminator and shit, I forgot. Okay, first off, Terminator Gravity Falls would be cool. Terminator and well, I forget. They've already done enough with RoboCop, so maybe Back to the Future. That would be fun. Terminator and Doctor Who. Another one with. I guess we'll do another one with Superman. All right, that's 4. And my 5th one would be, for shits and giggles, Code Lyoko. So, think of that question. Moving on to your 3rd one, which is, you just became a Terminator and your school bully just came to your house. What do? All my school bullies eventually became my friends. It's weird how it's weird how it happened, but my school bully, I didn't even have one. I had multiple school bullies because for some reason, when you're a geek in, a tiny school, that's biggest concern is who's getting pregnant. Yeah, you've got a big target on your back. So I had multiple, but a majority of them did eventually become my friends. So, if I did become a Terminator, one of those jackasses came to my doorstep, smashy. Anyway, think of those questions, Nolan. Moving on now to Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, Xana, Brainiac, and Megatron merge with Skynet. How fucked would we be? Out of 10? 50. Second question, if you were given a shit-o-ton money, how would you remake I've already answered this question with the Terminator franchise thing. And again with the RoboCop versus Terminator movie. But thank you for the questions regardless, Matt. And yeah. Moving on now to W. Simmons, who asks, how would the Terminator react to being thrown into Sonic Archie comic universe? I think Robotnik would have a field day, and also laugh at it, because, seriously, a lot of his stuff is more advanced than the T-800. Have you seen Metal Sonic? How would the Terminator react to Dr. Eggman, Metal Sonic, and his badniks? Yeah, those I think Robotnik would learn some interesting things and find new upgrades for Metal Sonic, but yeah. What would the Terminator think of HK-47 and T3M4, HK-50, and so on? I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be an interesting viewpoint. But yeah, think of those questions, W. Simmons. Moving on now to Boo-Rat1, who asks, is there a Terminator story or model of robot you can name that's good that isn't one from the movies or the TV series? A cool Terminator was one that came out of the Superman versus Terminator crossover. That was a Terminator that was created called Sky One, which was like the herald of Skynet, and it had kryptonite guns to combat Superman. I thought that was pretty cool. Second question. Favorite piece of Terminator memorabilia you own or wished you owned? I wish I could own the Terminator hand and chip. I know that was like a special edition thing. I always wanted that to like put in my room. Anyway, third question. At this point, with the movies being most popular moral, is that even the correct word? His words. Is Solo, do you he's basically saying, I got the whole thing tongue-tied, let me try again. At this point, with the movies, most people, I'm getting tongue-tied here. At this point, with the movies, most people, morale, is that the correct word, is so low, do you think they might try do something sort of a crossover with another franchise, and if so, what do you think it would be and why? If they were to do any crossover, it would be with one of their own franchises, like Alien or Predator, which they've rightfully, with Prometheus, and, I liked Predators, but a lot of people didn't, so I don't know. Just don't make it exactly like Alien vs. Predator vs. Terminator. No! Anyway. So, think of those questions, Boo Rat. Next questions come from Jerkwater100, who asks, how screwed would we be if Skynet created an army of Terminators out of adamantium? Pretty freaking screwed. Which character would you like to see facing off against a Terminator in a 1-minute melee? Mega Man. How can a Terminator use a lantern ring? Any lantern ring? Well, Mogo's a planet, and we've seen robot Terminators before, so I think it's possible that it could use, I don't know, a red lantern ring? I don't know. So thank you for those questions. Moving on now to Nick Lenz, who asks, which franchise would you like to see crossover with Terminator that hasn't been done yet? Kind of already answered this one, but if I was to pick one, Doctor Who. Second, what Terminator comics have you read? Terminator versus Superman versus Terminator, Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, RoboCop versus Terminator, and a lot of, I can't even remember the other ones. There was like Salvation and a few others. All of them pretty bad. Third question, what is your view on Terminator Genisys getting a sequel? Yeah, why? Ugh. That's all I can say, why? Alright, thank you for those questions, Nick. Moving on now to Bryce Diaz, who asks, who would win, Garnet or a Terminator? Depending on which Terminator it is, if it was T-800, Garnet. If it was T-1000, it might be a little harder, but I'd still say Garnet. Do you think a crossover with Aliens would work? Yeah, if it's not, as long as it's not Alien vs. Predator versus Terminator. Hellboy meets Terminator. What happens? Hellboy kills a Terminator. Anyway. So thank you for those questions, Bryce. Moving on now to Shockwave Spider, who asks, if you had the chance to go back in time and destroy Skynet before it was created, would you do it, or would it affect the timeline in a good? How would it affect, and would it affect the timeline in a good way? Everything's kind of set in stone if we've learned anything from Doctor Who. So if I tried to destroy Skynet, something else would be a lot worse than happen. Anyway, second question. What do you think Skynet would think of the following villainous artificial intelligence as Ultron, Brainiac, Xana, and GLaDOS from Portal? They'd all point at Skynet and laugh, saying, dude, we figured out how to do this better than you have. Killing humans and traveling back in time? Ah! Oh, that's hilarious. Alright. So, thank you for those questions. Oh, wait, you've got one more, sorry. Do you think a Mega Man and Terminator crossover would be awesome, and how would you write it? Maybe have it that the Terminator wants to get its hands on Mega Man, or just have it that, you know, the whole mixing timeline things, like Dr. Wily's trying to use time travel, screws up and brings Terminators to their timeline? I don't know. So thank you for those questions, Shockwave Spider. Moving on now to Alexander the Flame Man 1. Who asks, the heroes of the DC and Marvel universe versus Skynet, who wins? I'm going to give it to the combined efforts of the Marvel and DC universe. Second question, Cyborg versus the T-1000 versus Clone Wars Micro Series Grievous versus Engineer from Stormwatch versus Raiden from Metal Gear versus Cyrex versus the Predator, who wins? Out of all of them, I'd have to say Engineer. I'd have to give it to the Engineer from Stormwatch. She's got so, you know, she could take over almost any form of technology. And she's pretty much the T-1000 only done better, when you think about it. Third question, what do you think of the Terminator versus RoboCop death battle? Did you like it or hate it? I liked it. I thought the action was pretty fluid, and, you know, they gave a lot of good reasons of why RoboCop won. So I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Alexander. Moving on now to Jesse Sutres, who asks, what would you think of a Terminator story that takes place post-Terminator Genisys, wherein John Connor, from the original timeline, assembles a guerrilla military group composed of alternate versions of himself in order to combat his younger counterpart, who was assimilated by Skynet because of a paradox created by the movie itself, provided that mechanical John Connor is from a alternate... Wow. This is some Doctor Who shit. That would be crazy. Man. Second question. If you could foresee an interesting scenario in which the T-800 winds up in the 1600s, how would you think it would play out? Kind of like I said before, time travel was supposed to happen, but, went too far.